Start with just a quick review. So how can I show a number increased by 2?
X plus 2.
Is everybody okay with that? Who said no?
Me.
What's wrong with it, Solo?
I raised my hand.
So what's wrong with this?
Nothing.
So you are okay with it?
Yep. Sure, why not?
Okay. I would agree. Can I use a model? How do I model this? Right, Devin?
3 boxes, X in one of them.
Good. 3 boxes. I have my X, and then 2 other boxes, because we're less than 10, so we show every number. Huh? It is 2. 2 boxes. 2 is less than 10, so we show every box for it. Once we get to double digits, then I can just do 1 box with the number written in it. Okay? Now, guys, let me just be straight up with you. Here's where today's lesson gets difficult. We've done a lot of work so far with writing our variables. Now, you guys are a little bit ahead of the game because Ms. McShann and I have really stressed from the very beginning the importance of being specific in your variables. Today, if you're not specific, it's going to make it very difficult for you to finish these because we're also going to be doing substitution today. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the variable in the table and then improve the description giving, making it more specific. So you'll see these ones don't do a whole lot of specificity. So if we're talking about Joshua's speed J, an incomplete description would be let J represent Joshua's speed. What's missing? How can I make that more specific? What do you think, Devin?
Let J represent Joshua's speed in miles per hour.
Okay, if we're talking about people, do we really talk miles per hour in their speed? If I'm measuring someone's speed with a human, when do we know what kind of event are we normally talking about? Running. So track and field. Most of the track and field events are they mostly marathon distance? No. Is anybody in here a runner? What kind of distances do you normally run? 200 meters?
I usually run like 200 miles.
Okay. So normally you're doing smaller distances, right? So how do we measure those?
Meters per minute.
So it takes minutes to finish these shorter races?
Minutes per second.
Meters per second, he said.
It sounds like you said minutes per second.
So Solo actually nailed it. Because normally when we're talking about humans, we're talking shorter track distances. So that being said, and I think Mr. Shannon agrees on this, if you had put miles per hour, we'd be okay with that. But really with humans, we're talking normally like meters per second. So a more complete description would be J equals Joshua's speed in meters per second. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Is that more specific?
Yes.
Anybody not see that that's more specific? Are you writing this down, Isaiah? Okay, our second one, Rufus's height. So let R represent Rufus's height. How can I be more specific? What do you think, Kaden? Inches. Because we measure in English system, we'll say inches, but R is Rufus's height in inches. If you said centimeters, I'd be okay with that, or if you said feet in inches. But like normally, oops, sorry, go ahead. Normally, if you go to like the doctor's offices, they don't measure it feet and inches. It's straight up inches is what they measure you in. Okay, milk sold. So M represent the amount of milk. Solo? Solo? Good. So we're going to say M equals number of gallons sold. Gallons of milk. Okay, Colleen's time in the 40-meter hurdles. So if I'm doing a 40-meter race, second. So what should C represent?
Colleen's time in seconds.
Good. So Colleen's time in seconds. And if I had more room, you really probably should add in the 40-meter hurdle, because that gives you the distance. And then Sean's age.
Years, not months. I have no idea why I said that. Sean's age in years.
Okay, is everybody okay with that? In milliseconds, I don't think that would be a very good measurement for age. So S is Sean's age in years. Now I do want to add a caveat. What if Sean was a baby? Months. Normally up until about 2 years old, we normally give babies ages in months. But normally once they hit like that 2-year mark, then we just start doing years. Now there are some people who will, even to your age, say, oh, I'm 10 years and 18, or 10 years and 8 months. 10 years and 18 months, that would be really weird because that's 11 and a half, but whatever. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
So again, you do need to focus in on what age range you're talking about, but normally for age, we'd be talking about years. Okay, go ahead and turn your page. So now that we've practiced that a little bit, we want to give you guys a chance to get some practice in as well. So we're going to give you guys about 5 minutes. Work on these next 3. You may work together as a table, but we want you to go ahead and fill in. Okay, these 3 should have been relatively easy, I'm hoping. Joshua's merit badges. Let Jay represent Joshua's merit badges. That's incomplete. What would be more complete? I can be more specific on that. Good, I like that. So J equals number of Joshua's merit badges. So trivia question, how many merit badges does it take to become an Eagle Scout?
30? 14.
No, Boy Scouts don't sell cookies. They do popcorn.
14. When you do popcorn, 40.
Boy Scouts can as well. Okay. Nope, she didn't. Now, the total number required to make Eagle Scout is 21. Of those 21, 13 are required. In other words, every boy that has Eagle Scout earned the same 13 merit badges. The extra 8 are optional, and they've got a whole bunch that they can choose from. Last I saw, I want to say there was 109 different merit badges that were available. Now, that being said, it's actually exceptionally rare for an Eagle Scout to earn all 109 merit badges that are available. Number one, they take quite a bit of time. Number two, it gets hard to find counselors who are capable of signing them off. But it's a heck of an accomplishment. If you do that, you got that on your resume for life. Okay, Rufus's trading cards. Instead of just R as Rufus's trading cards, not going to be more specific. What do you think, Lydia? I just saw it. It was just like this. Both of them. You had both hands up. You were so eager.
No.
Right? Are they not up, Ms. McCann?
No. Yeah.
Oh, she has a ponytail? Oh, that's okay. You can answer anyway.
Maybe in suits.
Suits?
What? Oh, no.
Trading cards, not playing cards.
Oh, like Pokemon?
No, yeah, like Pokemon. I was thinking baseball or football cards.
Awesome. I'm thinking an entire box of them.
Oh, hold on, guys. But Lydia, now that Lydia is more clear,
I don't use trading cards.
what would make sense? Numbers.
No, trading cards in pieces. Lemons with paper.
No, number. Guys, quiet down, please. Number of Rufus's trading cards. So again, that is more specific. It's telling me how I'm breaking these down. And then our last one, milk money. Let M represent the amount of milk money. I'll give that one a shot.
Oh, me. I
Dollars. What about dollars? Be more specific.
Dollars in dollars.
How would I identify M? M equals,
The amount of milk money in dollars.
thank you, amount. That is not us.
There you go.
Now, because we're in Japan, if you had said in yen, I would be okay with that. But it's really dollars, okay? Okay, our next one. Now, Ms. McShann was nice enough to do the first two for you. Give you some good examples. I'm trying to give you credit, Ms. McShann. Don't bring logic into this solo.
I actually worked with a lady.
I know the recording's still on.
I actually did one.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Miss McShann, you finally.
I'm glad you didn't give her my views on the curriculum.
That's right.
So guys, here's where this is going to get really complex. I really need everyone's attention. Liam, I really need your attention because this is where this is going to get really, really complex. Okay? Again, marking your text is really critical to being successful in this because it's going to help you break these down. So our first one, Greg has $2 more than his brother Jeff. Write an expression, so that's what we're doing, for the amount of money Greg has. Here's why this gets so tricky. Because they're telling you two pieces in here. They're telling me what my answer is, but then that also tells me what I don't know. So in this case, my answer, what I'm trying to find is what Greg has. That means what is it that I don't know then?
The amount of money Greg has.
No, that's what I'm trying to find. So what I don't know is the amount of money Jeff has, and that's the first thing you need to be able to separate in your heads, is what am I solving for? What is it I don't know? So Ms. McShann, how did you like to say that?
Which one's my answer? That means the other one's my problem.
Okay? So which one's the answer and which one's the problem? And this is where she started to call Abby a problem. But we'll get to that. So now I know I'm solving for Greg, meaning Jeff is what I don't know. So my variable needs to be written in terms of Jeff. So let J represent Jeff's money in dollars, so good specific definition, specificity. But now I have to look back at the problem for my expression. So if I'm solving for Jeff, Greg has $2 more than Jeff, but now I'm looking from Jeff, so to get to Greg, what do I need to do? Because he's got $2 more than me. J plus 2, does that make sense? Okay? So this is what we've been doing so far. Here's today's new step. Now we're going to tell you what Jeff has. So this is where we do what we call substituting. Substituting is when they tell me the value for my variable, then I rewrite my expression. You can see that one's there. I now substitute. In other words, they told me, okay, that J is 12, so I put the 12 in for the J, and then I can now solve for the expression. So I do 12 plus 2, 14, so I now know Greg has $14. Now, another nice piece about this, the one thing I highly recommend, go back and check it and read it and make it make sense. See if it makes sense. So I now know Greg has $14. $14 is 2 more than Jeff, who is 12. Is that a yes? Yeah, if I say yes, then I did it right. If I say no, then I did something wrong, probably in my expression or in my variable. Now, let's look at the next one. Greg has $2 more than his brother Jeff. Write an expression for the amount of money Jeff has. Ooh, that looks very similar, does it not? Well, it's the only thing that changed.
The number, or the letter.
Why did the letter change? Because now I'm trying to solve for Jeff. So Jeff is my answer. Greg is now my problem. Make sense? So now I'm saying I don't know about Greg. So Greg is my variable now. So we now are using G to represent Greg's money in dollars, a good specific definition. But I still, did the actual information change? No, it's still Greg has $2 more than Jeff, right? But my expression is now going to be different because I'm looking at it from the other viewpoint. So now if I'm looking at Greg, how would I get to what Jeff has? Because I've got $2 more than Jeff. So if I want to go back to what Jeff has, I need to subtract 2. Does that make sense? Do you see why this can get confusing? Because the basis was the same, but this looks completely different based on what I'm trying to find. Again, they've now given me, Greg has $14, so I rewrite my expression. I can now substitute my $14 in for what he has, and now I know Jeff has $12. Again, I can go back, and I can say Greg has $14. Is that 2 more than 12? Is 14 2 more than 12? Yes. If I say yes, then I solved it correctly. Does that make sense? Questions? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys one last hint. If you're really struggling on what my variable is, what it is that I don't know, you can look in this column. They basically tell you, because they're saying here's what you're going to substitute in. But try to figure it out before looking at that column. Make sense? Okay, this one is more complex. We're basically going to give you actually we'll probably give you right up until lunch at this point. Okay, so we'll give you time. Okay, guys, listen
I'm not
up.
as smart as people say I am.
Okay, then. We're going to go through this pretty quickly because we want to give you guys a little extra time. So Abby read 8 more books than Kristin in the first marking period. Write an expression for the number of books Abby read. So again, focus in on what you don't know. If I'm trying to find for Abby, I don't know Kristin. So my variable, I'm just going to use X for all of them, is the number of books Kristin read. Yes. If I'm really going to be good, I'd put it all in there, but that one's specific enough. Okay, so now I need to look at this from the perspective of Kristin. So if I'm Kristin, Abby read 8 more books than me. How do I get to what she read?
X plus 8.
X plus 8. Okay, Kristin read 9, so X plus 8, but now I know that my X is 9, 17. So Abby read 17 books. Now we can double check to make sure it makes sense. Abby read 17. Is that 8 more than Kristin read at 9?
Yeah.
Yes, I did it correctly. Make sense? Okay, next page. Abby read 6 more books than Kristin in the second marking period. Write an expression for the number of books Kristin read. So now, if I'm solving for Kristin, it means I don't know Abby. So X is number of books Abby read. And again, looking at it from now Abby's perspective, she read 6 more, so to get to Kristin's number, I need to
X minus 6.
subtract 6. So Abby read 20. So now my X minus 6 becomes 20 minus 6, or 14. So Kristin read, whoopsie, there we go. Kristin read 14 books. That's fine. As long as you identified your variable clearly, it doesn't matter which variable you use. So just to double check, Kristin read 14. Abby read 6 more. She had 20. Is that 6 more than 14?
Yeah.
Yep, so I did it correctly. Daryl has been teaching for 1 year longer than Julie. Write an expression for the number of years that Daryl has been teaching. Okay, if I'm solving for Daryl, it means I don't know Julie. So my X is number of years Julie has taught.
And then I did Y.
Okay? Now again, from Julie's perspective, Dale has been teaching 1 year longer, meaning from Julie I need to add 1 to get to what Dale has taught. Julie has been teaching for 28 years, so my X plus 1 now becomes 28 plus 1, or 29. So Daryl has taught for 29 years. Go back to our problem. Daryl's 29. Is that 1 year longer than Julie at 28?
Yes.
Yep, so we did it correctly. Ian scored 4 fewer goals than Julia in the first half. Write an expression for the number that Ian scored. So if I'm writing for Ian, what don't I know?
You do not know the number of goals Julia scored.
Number of goals Julia scored. So now we're looking at it from Julia's perspective. From Julia's perspective, Ian scored 4 fewer. So if I know what Julia scored, I'm going to take, my X, and I have to subtract 4 to get to Ian's score. Julia scored 13, X minus 4. I now know it is 13, 9, so Ian scored 9 goals. Double check. Ian was 9. Is that 4 fewer than Julia at 13? Yes.
4 fewer than 14.
4 fewer. There we go.
4 fewer than 14.
Ian scored 3 fewer than Julia in the second half. Write an expression for what Julia scored. So if I'm solving for Julia, what do I not know?
The amount of goals Ian scored.
Number of goals Ian scored. Okay, so now from Ian's perspective, his was 3 fewer, so if I want to get to what Julia scored, I need to add 3 this time. Ian scored 8, so my X plus 3 now becomes 8 plus 3, or 11. So Julia scored 11 goals. And then double check. Ian scored 3 fewer. He scored 8. Was that 3 fewer than Julia's 11? Good deal. Last one. Johan visited Niagara Falls 3 times fewer than Arthur. Write an expression for the number of times that Johan visited. So if I'm looking for Johan, I don't know what.
The number of times Arthur saw Niagara Falls.
Good. So X is number of times Arthur visited Niagara Falls. Okay, so from Arthur's perspective, Johan was 3 fewer than Arthur. So from Arthur, I need to minus 3. Because Johan is 3 less than him. So now my X minus 3, Arthur did it 5 times. 5 minus 3 is 2. So Johan visited twice. Yes, you always have to answer word problems in a full sentence. That shouldn't be new to you, David. You may not like it, but that's the way it goes. Okay, let's double check it. Johan's 2 visits, was that 3 fewer than Arthur's 5? Makes sense? Okay, first page of homework. Go ahead and turn to page 82. This should look very familiar. Basically, it's what we just did, guys. So, 5 problems. Big note. Everybody see this? You may want to highlight that.
Nobody can see it.
Because nobody notices it. They spend so much time filling out the table, they forget there's another problem down there. So, Teague, I highly recommend you put a highlight on that or something so that you don't forget to do that one. Because it's going to be really sad that you do all of this, and then you miss number 2. Well, how many problems are there? 2. You just didn't do half of the problems. So you get half the credit because you didn't do that one at the bottom. Make sense?
Yep. Wait, so what's the expressions packet part of our homework?
I am so glad you just asked that, Devin. What is the expressions pack of our homework? Okay, so thanks to Devin, we've got this extra sheet.
Did I not call it? What'd you expect?
So I do want to make sure you understand how to do this one. It's not hard, but if I don't explain it, it's not going to make sense. First off, you can cross this part out because we're not doing a coloring sheet. We changed this up a little bit, okay? What we're going to do is our first one, for example, Paul had X baseball cards and gave 5 to his brother. So if I have X and I give 5 away, what's that mean?
X minus 5.
X minus 5. So I then flip my sheet over. You'll notice there's 20 boxes on the front, 20 boxes on the back. So in box number 1, I now write X minus 5 because that's the expression that I just found. And now they have given me a value for X. So I'm going to substitute the value in 34 minus 5, and my answer is 29. Make sense?
So we go back to there. One on the other side.
Correct. So if you miss it on the front, you're going to miss it on the back. Hint, hint. If you get a really weird answer on the back, relook at what you did on the front. So example number 2, the sum of X and 9. Sum means addition, X plus 9. So I turn it over. X plus 9. Now it's 14. 14 plus 9 means it's 23. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so that's what you need to do for your homework.